Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video, doing USA forecast for today's video. So this is our weekly look at weather for the United States for the next couple of weeks and beyond. So we've got Hurricane Delta, which is going to be moving into the Gulf of Mexico very shortly, about to be heading towards the Gulf Coast of the United States through the end of the week and into the weekend. So that's going to be pretty impactful for those Gulf Coast states. We'll have a look at that. Have a look at the wider weather across the United States in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have a look at CFSV2 for the next 4 weeks as well. That will take us into the very beginning of November, of course. So I shall get on that for you very shortly. Just to say that we've got the 10 to 14 day video update coming up as a live stream later on. So at 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to be live streaming. We shall be taking questions with that, but within the live stream, we will have the regular 10 to 14 day video update with all of the usual features included as well. As I say, that will be coming up for you from 6 o'clock this evening. We'll check in and see how we're all doing. And yeah, we'll have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days with all of the usual features as part of the live stream. These USA forecasts are YouTube exclusive, so you will need to be subscribed to Gaz Weather's YouTube channel and click all notifications so that you're notified when we are releasing the USA forecast every Wednesday. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, let's get on then. I'm going to start off in the Caribbean with Hurricane Delta. This is Hurricane Delta just here, just off the coast of Mexico right now. So last night, Hurricane Delta powered up very, very dramatically and went up to a Category 4 hurricane. As Delta has approached the coast of Mexico, it has weakened a little bit, but still very impactful. Still a major Category 3 hurricane, giving maximum sustained winds of 115 miles per hour currently, with a minimum central pressure of 972 millibars, and moving northwestwards at 17 miles per hour. Now, if we click on Delta and go to warnings and cone static images, we can see that this is going to lose major hurricane status for a while around this coast of Mexico. So it will continue to weaken off the coast of Mexico, but still as a Category 2 hurricane, still as a very, very significant hurricane. But then as Delta moves further northwards over the Gulf of Mexico through tomorrow, Delta will start to power up again, becoming a major hurricane again tomorrow, and then looking like going to hit the US Gulf Coast somewhere between Texas and Mississippi, with a central projection of the state of Louisiana, hitting that Gulf Coast as a major hurricane. And then, of course, moving inland and rapidly weakening as it loses energy through inland regions of the United States. This looks like a very, very significant and impactful hit that's coming up on the US Gulf Coast at the end of the week and into the weekend. Let's have a look at the discussion page. So this again confirms that we are going to see temporary weakening and then a powering up. So maximum sustained winds with Delta at the moment are at 115 miles per hour, means gusts are probably at around 140, 150 miles per hour. That is going to weaken very quickly over the next few hours, going down to maximum sustained of 105 miles per hour. Again, just as the coast of Mexico is taking away some of the energy. But then as Delta moves back over the Gulf of Mexico, powering up again. So by this time tomorrow, maximum sustained winds up to 110 miles per hour, 36 hours time up to 120 miles per hour, in 48 hours time reaching 130 miles per hour maximum sustained winds again. But it's a Category 4 hurricane, reaching Category 4 hurricane status again. And then around then, that's when it's going to hit the Gulf Coast as a Category 4 hurricane, looking very, very severe indeed. And then moving inland and rapidly, those wind gusts, maximum sustained winds and wind gusts diminish very significantly. So these are the points with Delta at the moment. So point number 1 is life-threatening storm surge and dangerous winds are expected within portions of north and Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico during the next few hours. Now is the time to be in your storm shelter, National Hurricane Center are saying. Point number 2, heavy rainfall will affect portions of western Cuba and the northern Yucatan Peninsula through early Thursday. This rainfall could lead to significant flash flooding and mudslides, flash, urban and small stream flooding along with minor river flooding is likely Friday through Saturday across portions of the central Gulf Coast, north into portions of the lower Mississippi Valley. The heavy rainfall will spread northward into Tennessee Valley and interior southeastern United States this weekend and early next week. Point number 3 is that there is an increasing likelihood of life-threatening storm surge and dangerous hurricane-force winds, especially along the coast of Louisiana and Mississippi beginning on Friday. Residents in these areas should ensure they have their hurricane plan in place and follow advice given by local officials. Storm surge and hurricane watches will likely be issued for portions of the northern Gulf Coast later on today. And again, this just shows the path of Delta moving northwards, tearing up northwards through the Gulf of Mexico onto the Gulf Coast of the United States by Friday and into the weekend. So very, very significant storm on the way again. We're seeing quite a few of these on the way again for the Gulf Coast. This is perhaps going to be the worst that we've had so far this season. Delta does look like a real monster storm heading for the Gulf Coast of the United States at the end of the week. Everybody in that area, do take care and heed the warnings from your local officials. Now, this is how the upper level winds are currently looking through the Caribbean and into the Gulf Coast. So let's zoom this, pull this round and zoom in so we can get a pretty good look of Delta here as we're zooming into the Gulf of Mexico. Here it is. This is from earthnullschool.net. So you can see this is a very, very significant hurricane. It has weakened from what it was yesterday or last night UK time, but it is still a very, very significant hurricane off the coast of Mexico, and it's because it's very close to the coast, but it is sort of weakening a little bit. But as it tears up in that sort of area and then comes back out over warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, by tomorrow re-emerges, I suppose, over warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, it will power up and then move in that sort of direction, as at the moment forecast to be a Category 4 hurricane. But of course, it is possible it could power up even more than expecting, and Category 5 cannot be ruled out. But at the moment, it looks like it could be hitting the Gulf Coast as a Category 4 hurricane. Very, very significant hurricane with Delta. Very, very severe indeed. This is how the GFS forecast is looking for the next couple of weeks for this sort of tropical Atlantic and Caribbean area. So that's Delta just there. The current position of Hurricane Delta is just there. If we start to run through, you can see how the GFS is handling this. So the GFS moving Delta out into the Gulf of Mexico by tomorrow and powering it up again. It's from troubledtidbits.com, I'm not sure I said that. Powering Delta back up tomorrow over the Gulf of Mexico. Notice how the minimum central pressure is dropping, going down to 957 millibars by the end of Thursday over the Gulf of Mexico, and then moving this hurricane onto the Gulf Coast during the course of Friday. There it is, making landfall onto the Gulf Coast sometime through the course of Friday. Again, be a Category 4 hurricane by the look of it as it hits the Gulf Coast, and then of course moves inland and rapidly starts to weaken. So Delta eventually finishes up over on the eastern side of the United States, just here, by the time we get through to Sunday. Behind Delta, there's not much else going on then. Things go quite a bit quieter then. afterwards, although there is some sort of system forming here. This is like by the middle of next week. This is Thursday the 15th of October. So we've got some sort of system just there trying to get going. That could be like a disturbance area, possibly. There is something here as well. This looks just like an area of low pressure, but it may start to take on some characteristics of a tropical storm or something. There it is off the coast of the Carolinas. So that might develop into something later next week off the east coast of the United States. Maybe a subtropical storm, maybe a tropical storm or something. GFS is not developing that into too impactful a system at the moment, but that will be one to watch. It is sort of over the warm waters of off the coast of the Carolinas, so that might develop into something. Again, some sort of disturbance area just there, but at this late in the season, in October, we tend not to get as many storms developing like in the tropical Atlantic. Tend to be more focused around the Caribbean areas, I think, and also the Gulf of Mexico at this time of the year. Moving into the extended range with the GFS beyond day 10. Again, not a great deal happening then. So it looks like it's a little bit quiet until very late on, right at the very end of the GFS run, where something is getting going in the Caribbean again. There's another system just there. It's a very long way out, though. This is the 23rd of October, but some sort of tropical storm, maybe hurricane, getting going in the Caribbean there, right at the very end of the midnight run of the GFS, but that's like 2 weeks or more away. So at the moment, all eyes are on Delta, and then next week it'll be that system off the coast of the Carolinas. If that one gets going, that might impact the eastern seaboard of the United States, and then beyond that it'll be a case of seeing whether we get anything else developing. GFS does want to develop another system in the Caribbean by the 23rd of October. That is a really, really long way out. So yeah, we're keeping a very close eye on developments in the tropical Atlantic and in the Caribbean over the coming days and weeks. Of course, at the moment, all eyes very much focused on Delta. More broadly across the United States, so these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flowcharts, Penn State University, with the ECMWF on the left and the GFS on the right. So 500 millibars is an area in absolute high pressure, low pressure, are being moved around by a jet stream. Red extrapolates to above average heights, blue to below average heights, that's low pressure. So red is high pressure, blue is low pressure essentially. So you can see that this is taking us to day 10, 10-day time frame. Day 10 will be the 17th of October. So you can see that with the ECM, we've got this area of above average heights, generally seen across much of Northern America, below average heights there in the southern part of America. Jet stream is pushed northwards, jet stream is up here. So in the 7 to 10 day time frame, things are actually looking quite warm across many parts of the state, certainly quite mild, and reasonable amount of dry weather probably as well. The GFS is very similar, low pressure up in the very far north and up towards Canada. Otherwise, there's this ridge through the west and through these sort of midwestern states, and another ridge off the east coast. Jet streams riding northwards, doing something like that. Looks like a pretty dry and generally quite mild, generally quite mild sort of outlook for next week across many parts of the states. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. We're looking at New Orleans today, in Louisiana, or on the Louisiana coast. So the red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for New Orleans. You can see that for the next week, temperature is going to be above average. Very warm place, of course, down on the Gulf Coast of the state, so it's going to be very warm at the best of times. It is going to be warmer than average in the coming week. After that, through the third week of October, signs of a little bit of a cool down, but probably only going close to average. There are a few colder outlier members, but they're in the minority. Most of these GFS ensemble members for New Orleans have shown that the upper air temperatures are warm or very warm in the next week, and then returning close to average in the third week of October. This massive precipitation just here is going to be associated with Delta, so that's going to be part of the rainfall that's coming up with Hurricane Delta as it makes landfall on that Gulf Coast from Friday and into weekend. After that, it looks like we go pretty dry in New Orleans for the middle part of October and into the second half of the month. Temperature anomalies from the 7th to the 15th of October are going to be warmer than average from the west coast to the east coast. Most parts of the states looking mild or very warm, or very warm in the week ahead. So, yeah, very mild scene coming up. Quite a warm week ahead. The rainfall anomaly from the 7th to 15th of October generally looking quite dry through most parts of the states. There are a couple of exceptions in the northwest, Pacific Northwest. It looks a little bit wet up there. That is often the case. It's quite a wet place at the best of times on that Pacific Northwest coast. And this swathe of rain just here, but I'm sure you can see very clearly, that, of course, is the path and the track of Delta. So we've got Delta making landfall. This is state of Louisiana, of course. That's Mississippi. So we've got this is Texas around here. So it doesn't look like Texas gets too much rain from Delta, but we've got Delta making landfall with a central sort of projection of Louisiana. So you see the path of Delta then moving northwards into the Midwest of the states and then on into the northeast. You can very, very clearly see Delta making that swathe of rain along that track. This southeast corner, like Carolinas down to Florida and then up the eastern seaboard, generally looking a little bit dry through there as well. So quite a dry scene for most parts of the states, but with one or two exceptions, and particularly where we're in the track of Delta. Right, so this is how the GFS is looking across America for today. So, of course, we've got Delta down here, currently just off the coast of Mexico. Otherwise, most parts of the states looking reasonably dry and mild, really, today. Quite a lot of high pressure around. So there's the upper air temperatures, showing that the cooler upper air temperature that we had sort of last week have been pushed back right way up towards Canada now, the border with North America and Canada. Most parts of the states actually looking pretty mild or warm with the upper air temperatures today. Now through tomorrow, Delta moves through the Gulf of Mexico, powers up as it does so, moves northwards onto the Gulf Coast of the states as we go through into Friday. Friday is when Delta makes landfall, very significant hurricane, of course, making landfall on that Gulf Coast. Otherwise, again, large parts of the states looking pretty dry. There is some low pressure up in the very far north that might bring some rain and some cooler temperatures. With the ridge off the coast of the Atlantic coast, that's also pulling up some warmth from the south. And of course, Delta will be bringing a lot of warmth and humidity with it from the Gulf of Mexico as well. So the upper air temperature showing that most parts of the states are actually looking warm or very warm. Hot weather goes on, of course, still in the southwest part of the state, but most parts of America looking pretty warm as we go through the end week and into weekend. There's a rainfall associated with Delta as well from Friday to Saturday on that Louisiana coast. Exceptionally wet, could be storm surge as well. So really, really severe conditions from Delta. Then Delta moving inland as we go through the weekend and pushing northwards as well, just developing or just sort of weakening into a trough of low pressure eventually as it arrives into the eastern part of the states. Begin to go a bit more unsettled through the end of the weekend into the early part of next week with this area of low pressure moving in from the northwest as well. So that will bring some spells of rain to northern and northeastern parts of America, mainly dry and quite warm though, or hot out in the west. And eventually later next week, you might start to get a push of cooler air from Canada into some northern and northeastern parts of the states. But still the emphasis is on quite a lot of high pressure through the middle and second half of next week. Quite a bit of dry weather, just temperatures cool down a little bit for a while. Although, as we get to day 10, which is Saturday the 17th of October, actually the upper air temperatures are looking they are looking reasonably mild across most parts of the states under that ridge by then. In the more extended range, a shot of cold air coming to the far northeast from Canada. That could bring a little taste of winter to these to the Great Lakes and northeastern states. We might get some snow there in the very far northeast. Meanwhile, out in the west and through the west, like the west of the Midwest, it's looking pretty hot through there. And then as we end this GFS run, it looks like we're starting to bring another area of low pressure in from Canada. But still, generally, the emphasis from many parts of states is on quite mild temperatures as we end this GFS run on the 23rd of October. The ECM is looking like that. So again, we've got Delta moving through the Gulf of Mexico onto the Gulf Coast of states at the end of the week. Very impactful hit. Otherwise, a lot of high pressure through most parts of America, a lot of dry and warm or very warm weather. Then Delta moves northwards and weakens as it does so. We start to pull up this is a little bit warmer actually than the GFS. Start to pull up a very warm southerly wind at this eastern side of states. At the same time, we've got a trough of low pressure digging in from the northwest. So this is a little bit different, or into the west of the northwest. It's a little bit different compared to what the GFS was showing. So hotter with the ECM for these midwestern and eastern states through the early part of next week, with both southerly winds cooler out in the west and in the northwest too. And we head up towards day 10 and we look like that. So we've got a trough of low pressure here across these more southern states. Otherwise, many northern states again tend to be dominated by high pressure. So with this trough of low pressure through these southern states through here, there will be rain and cooler temperatures. Heat goes on in the west and still pretty warm across many of these eastern and northeastern states as well, with the ECM at day 10. CFSV2 finally, these are 500 millibar hikes breaking down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 7th to the 13th of October. The coming week has low pressure in the far north, otherwise ridging out to the west and a ridge towards the southeast. And of course, we know we've got Delta pushing northwards from the Gulf of Mexico as well. Week 2, which is going to be the 14th to 20th of October, looks like that. A ridge in the northeast and out towards the west and the southwest. Trough of low pressure is in through here. Jet stream probably doing something a little bit like that, I would have thought. Week 3 is going to be the 21st, 27th of October. Again, the ridge is up to the northeast and out to west as well. Very slack through here. There's possibly some sort of trough coming through there, though. Maybe we'll find out when we look at the rainfall anomalies. And then week 4 is the 28th of October to the 3rd of November. It's that election day for America. I think that might be election day. So a ridge out in the west, on the west coast and up to the very far northeast, trough of low to very far north, should say, towards Canada, and then a trough of low pressure in the northeast. Jet stream's probably doing something a little bit like that, so that could bring colder and more unsettled conditions into the northeast. The west would remain pretty warm or pretty warm and dry, really. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead, as we've already said, it's going to be a warm week through most parts of America with above average temperatures coming up. A very mild week on the way. Week 2 does show quite a cool down in the east, though, becoming much cooler in the east, warm out in the west, proper east-west divide in week 2. Week 3 is going to be the 21st, 27th of October. Dry in the west, otherwise rather so warm in west, I should say. Otherwise, rather cool, actually, across those more eastern and northern areas. And then week 4, temperature anomalies from the 28th of October to 3rd of November. Again, east-west split, warm in the west, cool over in the east. Rainfall anomalies finally looking like this. So again, there's the swathe of rain from Delta in the southeastern corner for week 1, 7th to 13th of October. Dry out in midwest, wet up in the northwest. Week 2 is the 14th to 20th of October. Most parts of the state looking pretty dry then, to be honest. Week 3, rainfall anomaly from the 21st, 27th of October. So drier over in the east and in the west, a little bit more unsettled in between. And then lastly, week 4 is going to be the 28th of October to 3rd of November. So dry out in the northwest, a little bit more unsettled, perhaps in the southeast. Maybe a little bit more unsettled there. Right, that's how it's looking then. So all eyes really are on Delta at the moment to see how bad it's going to get for the Gulf Coast. It's going to hit, looks like going to hit as a Category 4 hurricane, and that is very, very impactful, of course. Quite warm as well through many parts of the states in the coming days. Possibly signs of a little bit of a cool down, though, in the east and the northeast later next week. Might start to get a shot of winter into the far northeast in around a week to 10 days time. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. Make sure you are subscribed to the GWV Weather's YouTube channel so you know when we are releasing these USA forecasts every Wednesday. And let us know in the comments what you think. We're going to be back later on with our live stream from 6 o'clock. We live stream a 10 to 14 day video update. And part of the live stream include all the regular features. So that'll be coming up from 6 o'clock this evening. Next USA forecast, of course, will be on Wednesday next week. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.